A door opens in the dark. A man walks into a cell where his brother is waiting to die and says, "Not tonight." That happens twice in this show. Only twice. Once when Jaime Lannister opens Tyrion's cell to set him free, and once, years later, when Tyrion Lannister opens the flap of a tent to do the same for Jaime. 2 doors, 2 brothers, 2 rescues, and between them, the most beautiful, complicated, and heartbreaking brotherhood in the entire story. Because the Lannister brothers don't agree on anything. They don't share values, politics, taste in women, or opinions about their father. But they share one thing that nobody else in this family has ever been able to give either of them: unconditional love. And twice in this show, that love walks through a door and says, "I'm getting you out of here." So, let's start with the first door. The black cells beneath the Red Keep. The night before Tyrion's execution. Tyrion is sitting in the dark. He's been sentenced to death for a murder he didn't commit. The poisoning of King Joffrey, a crime orchestrated by Olenna Tyrell and Littlefinger, while Tyrion sat at the head table with a cup of wine and a target on his back. He demanded a trial by combat.
I demand a trial by combat.
His champion, Oberyn Martell, the only man in King's Landing willing to fight for him, had his skull crushed by the mountain in front of a cheering crowd. And now, Tyrion is done. The trial is over. The sentence is death. And tomorrow morning, they're going to take him out and kill him. And the last thing he'll see is his father's face watching from the gallery with the same cold indifference he's worn Tyrion's entire life. Now think about what Tyrion is feeling in that cell. Not just fear. He's been afraid before. This is something worse. This is the confirmation of everything he's always suspected, that his family would kill him if they could, that his father sees him as a stain on the Lannister name, that Cersei has wanted him dead since the day he was born, since the day their mother died, bringing him into the world. Tyrion isn't just waiting for an executioner. He's waiting for the final proof that he was never really a Lannister at all. Right? And then the door opens, and it's Jaime. Not a guard, not a priest come to hear his last confession, not Varys with a scheme. It's his brother, the Golden Son, the Knight, the man their father wishes were the heir. Jaime Lannister, who has everything Tyrion doesn't, the looks, the name, the armor, the respect, has come down to the darkest hole in King's Landing to break his little brother out of a cage. Varys has cleared the path. The guards are gone, the doors are open, a ship is waiting. He's risking everything, his position, his relationship with Cersei, his standing with Tywin, for the one person in this family who the rest of them would happily watch die. You see, and the scene itself is almost unbearably simple. There's no grand speech. There's no dramatic declaration of loyalty. Jaime opens the cell, tells Tyrion where to go, and for one moment, just one brief, quiet moment, these 2 brothers look at each other, and then they hug. Tyrion wraps his arms around Jaime's waist because Jaime is taller, and that's where Tyrion reaches. And Jaime leans down and kisses his brother on the cheek. It's the most intimate gesture either of these men has shown anyone in 4 years of the show. And this is a show full of love stories, full of embraces, full of people reaching for each other in the dark. These aren't men who hug. These aren't men who say, "I love you." They're Lannisters. They communicate through wit, sarcasm, and the occasional act of spectacular violence. But in that cell, in the dark, on the night before Tyrion is supposed to die, they're just brothers. And the hug says everything that neither of them knows how to put into words. Well, and then Tyrion walks away. And instead of going straight to Varys, he takes a detour that will change everything. He goes to the Tower of the Hand, finds Shae in his father's bed, kills her, takes a crossbow, and shoots Tywin on the privy. But that's a different story. What matters for this story is the door that Jaime opened, because without that door, Tyrion dies in the morning. Without that act of love, that quiet, dangerous, treasonous act of brotherly love, the cleverest man in Westeros becomes another body in the black cells. Jaime saved Tyrion's life, and he did it knowing that their father would never forgive him for it. Look, now let's jump forward. Years later, different war, different queen, different cell. Jaime has been captured by Daenerys' forces outside King's Landing. He was trying to sneak past the Targaryen lines to get back to Cersei, not to kill her, not to stop her, but to be with her. Because that's who Jaime is at the end, a man who can't stop loving the woman everyone else has given up on. And now he's sitting in a tent, hands bound, waiting for whatever comes next, which, given that Daenerys has already promised Tyrion that any further failure will be his last, probably means death for both of them. The thing is, Tyrion walks into that tent knowing exactly what it will cost him. Daenerys told him, to his face, in no uncertain terms, that if he fails her again, it's over.
Next time you fail me, be the last time you fail me.
Freeing Jaime isn't just treason, it's a death sentence for Tyrion. He knows it, Jaime knows it, and Tyrion does it anyway, because the door opened for him once, in the dark, on the worst night of his life. And now it's his turn. Actually, the conversation they have in that tent is one of the most emotionally devastating scenes in the entire show. Tyrion cuts Jaime's bonds. He tells him about the secret passage under the Red Keep.
Remember where we met? Where they keep the dragon skulls beneath the Red Keep.
The same tunnels he used to sneak in and out of the castle years ago. He tells Jaime to take Cersei and go. Get on a dinghy at the bottom of the tunnels.
A dinghy will be waiting for you. Sail out of the bay. If the winds are kind, you'll make it to Pentos.
Sail to Pentos. Start over. Have the baby. Live. It's a plan built on hope and desperation in equal measure, and Tyrion knows it probably won't work, but he offers it anyway because it's all he has left to give. And yet, it's what Tyrion says next that breaks something in you. He looks at his brother, this tall, golden, beautiful man who has spent his entire life being everything Tyrion isn't, and he says the words that have been true since the first time we saw them together.
You were the only one who didn't treat me like a monster. You were all I had.
And Jaime's face when he hears that, it's not surprise, it's not guilt, it's sadness, because Jaime knows it's true. He knows that their father spent decades trying to erase Tyrion from the family name. He knows that Cersei blamed Tyrion for their mother's death and wished him dead from the crib. He knows that Tyrion grew up in a house full of gold and lions where the only warmth he ever felt came from one person. The big brother who taught him that being a Lannister didn't have to mean being alone. Basically, let that land for a second. In a family of lions, a family that rules kingdoms, that commands armies, that destroys houses and builds empires, the only love that was ever real was between these two. Not Tywin's love, which was conditional on legacy. Not Cersei's, which was poisoned by resentment and superstition from the cradle. The only person in the Lannister family who ever looked at Tyrion and saw a brother instead of a curse was Jaime. And the only person in the Lannister family who ever looked at Jaime and saw the real man underneath the armor, not the Kingslayer, not the Golden Knight, not Cersei's twin, was Tyrion, you know. And then they hug, again, for the last time. And this hug is different from the one in the black cells. That first hug was quick, grateful, relieved, full of the nervous energy of an escape. This one is slow. This one lingers. Tyrion presses his face into Jaime's chest and holds on because he knows, they both know, that this is the last time. There's no next meeting. There's no see you after the war. Tyrion is sending Jaime into a city that's about to become a battlefield to rescue a woman who may already be beyond saving, and Jaime is leaving behind the only person who ever loved him without conditions. They hold each other in that tent the way people hold each other at funerals, because that's what this is. A funeral in advance. A goodbye spoken before the death. Because after the death, there won't be anyone left to speak it. Again, what makes these two scenes so powerful is the mirror. In the first scene, Jaime is the one with power. He's the Golden Son, the King's Guard, the man who can walk through any door in the Red Keep. And he uses that power to save the brother the world says isn't worth saving. In the second scene, Tyrion is the one with access. He's the Hand of the Queen, the man who can walk into a prisoner's tent without being questioned, and he uses that access to save the brother who saved him. The debt is paid, the circle is closed, 2 doors, 2 rescues, 2 acts of love that cost everything. Technically, the Lannister brothers never see each other again after that tent. Jaime dies under the Red Keep with Cersei, crushed by falling stone as the castle collapses around them. He made it back to her. He found her. He held her as the ceiling came down. And Tyrion, who sent him there, who opened that door, who gave him the plan that failed, finds their bodies days later, alone in the ruins, digging through the rubble with his bare hands. The golden hand sticks out of the bricks first, and Tyrion knows. Before he even sees the face, he knows. He pulls the stones away, one by one, until he uncovers Jaime and Cersei lying together in the dust. And the sound Tyrion makes, that choked, suffocating grief, his whole body folding in on itself, is the sound of a man losing the last person who ever made him feel human. The door can't open anymore. There's no one left on the other side. So, the Lannister brothers. 2 men who shared a last name and nothing else, except the one thing that mattered. In a family defined by cruelty, ambition, and the ruthless pursuit of power, Jaime and Tyrion found something their father never understood and their sister never could. That blood isn't about legacy or lions or gold. It's about showing up at the door when nobody else will. And twice in this story, a Lannister brother showed up. That's more than most people get in a lifetime. And for Jaime and Tyrion, it was enough. It was everything. It was all they had.